So how are you this morning? I hope you guys are doing okay. Yeah, 2020 Olympics start in Tokyo, but yeah, because of the coronavirus, there's a lot of problems and some athletes cannot participate in the Olympics. So I read articles about who cannot go in tennis player or gymnast, and then even though they got vaccine, but still they got vaccinated, but still got their positive tested, and then I know, so interesting though. Yeah, they opened the what is it, the village, the athletes stayed, and then they try to sleep. They try to prevent the athletes from the sleeping together with others, and that's why they made it was a bad with bad plan with the cardboard box, right? And then maybe one person hold, and but the frame, the cardboard box frame cannot hold two person. Yeah, that's a kind of discouraging kind of sleeping together during the Olympic because of the coronavirus, and I hope it works. Yeah, but just think about, I don't know how much you guys are interested in the stocks, and then maybe we could talk about later how can we invest about property, but still economy is kind of ups and downs, and today is kind of really down is really plummeted around 700 something down. Yeah, I see the what is it, the iPad, the what is the stock apps on iPad, and then there is no blue, right? There is no blue, and everything's red, and then dramatically down. Then I don't know. Yeah, people are trying to make extra money or try to make money. They do a lot of stocks, but nowadays, like last time is GameStop, it kind of coming out, and a lot of people, made money, and then nowadays people are looking for another chance like a GameStop, and sure, yeah. But I don't know whether it's a lot of issues going on stock markets, but still, I don't know where is the justice going, because it's really intricate. A lot of people, the American people, they buy stocks, and the part of stock make their money. Yeah, that's why I don't know how it goes, but still, think about the wealth they try to accumulate. It's a lot of different ways that they try to accumulate. Try to accumulate their wealth. By a lot of different ways, stocks and business, and then that just labor that the older people can do. Yeah. Today, we're going to talk about wealth and poverty. We are not going to go deep, but basic definition, and then how it's going in the world, and then we're going to see the kind of we're going to see the biblical principle that how we principle of wealth, right? How can we manage, and what kind of attitude we need like this. So how do we define the wealth? A little bit, people think about wealth is really abundance, richness, right? They interchangeably use the terminology, the word, but usually wealth means the abundance of value, material possessed, or resources, like Merriam-Webster And but another definition is that all property that has a money value or the exchangeable value. So we're gonna focus about this one, right? All property that has a money values or the exchangeable values. So all material objects that have economic utility. So well, yeah, we are not gonna kind of, we're gonna separate wealth in richness, right? Rich. So, we can define another dictionary. So, Investopedia, and the wealth is accumulation of a value. Economic resource can be measured in terms of either real goods or money values. So sometimes it's a property gonna be your part of wealth, and the money the cash that you have is a part of wealth, and anything to convert to wealth, and economic resources, and then that's counted wealth, right? So usually they count wealth, and then I have $1,000, but I have debt around $200, and my wealth is $800, right? That's a kind of a net wealth, right? So actually, you have money you have, but you have something to pay back, or you have to kind of deduct the money that you owe, right? That's a net worth, right? But the concept of wealth is usually applied to scarce economic goods, right? So just think about it. The goods are the abundant and free for everyone. Providing no basis for the relative and comparison across individual. But do you believe that one? Well, I know wealth is kind of everybody could reach, but the degree of wealth is different, right? But nowadays, I don't know. Everybody can get the wealth. I know it depends on how much you can get. It's a different story, right? Just think about it, who uses a stock, and then they're just sitting down and make a lot of money though. One day they can make $1 million if they have a lot of invest on the stock. One people, just think about ordinary people, they work, and if they have the minimum paid job, and they cannot make $1 million for their lives, in their life. Just barely make $2,000 per month. But just think about it, and then per year is almost less than 30,000, right? Barely they can make $1 million in their life. Anyway, so everybody has equal chance to get the goods, and then but we cannot say that everybody has equal chances, right? We cannot say that. Maybe people can say that, but I don't believe that everybody has equal chance. And let's take hold of it, and then this is kind of this is this is not an income, part of income, but it's not the what's the wealth that you make every day, and then the wealth measures the amount of valuable economic goods that have been accumulated at a given point in time. So just think about until last month, right? How much you guys have made in your life, right? Maybe this year, maybe whole your life, and then there is you have how much your house and then how much your other investment, and that's all wealth, right? But how much you have to pay back? If you wanna buy if you buy a house in America and then if you don't have cash, but you have to pay months, it's not your house until you pay it off, right? So yeah, there is a relative difference in wealth between people or what they usually have in order to define who is wealthy or not. So depends on how much you have, and then we can say the wealthy or not. But if you live in America, just you convert to the American dollars, and even though you have to, you make around 1,500, $150,000 per year, and then it's not wealthy. It's not wealthy. It's a typical middle class, right? But if you go to another countries and then they live with $1, $2 per day, and then the money is cannot imaginable, right? Cannot be imaginable. So there is wealth, but if you are wealthy or not, it depends on your culture. Depends on the your philosophy, your belief. Think about, I know there is a basic statistic criteria that okay, this is what's a middle class, this is a high class, this is low class in terms of economics, right? Economies. But what about your values? You cannot calculate. You cannot calculate your value with the economy, with the statistics, right? That's why, even though there is a general criteria of how can you make, how have you made all things, and what is the total, right? And then if you have a lot in this society, and more than average, you are wealthy. But if you don't have a lot and you are just not enough, and you are not wealthy, right? That's a little bit different concept. According to the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, this is it's look at this 2000 global wealth distribution. I had 2012, and then about the top 0.6% of the population is about. They have 0.6, more than around 0.6 people have more than $1 million. And what about the 42 million richest people in the world have about 40% of the world wealth? It's a lot, huh? What about the 4.4% about had 32% of the world wealth. It's about 311 million people. But bottom 95% held as 28%, just 0.4% of the world wealth. Look at this in 2000 and that is Nowadays it's a little different, right? So millionaires more than $1 million is 1%. It's kind of nowadays more people make more money. Just think about young generation who had high tech jobs and then they have they are really only exposed to stocks and they have any other skill. Do you know nowadays startups? Yeah. And nowadays they use technology and then make a lot of So even though it's teens around 12 years old and then they make $1 million per year because they made a lot of apps. What about the nowadays and social media business and then they posted a lot of pictures of things and what. So you have more subscription in YouTube and what you can get paid a lot, right? So nowadays people really many opportunity to get to become a millionaire. You don't have to take a long, like 5 years, 3 years, and then if you are an inventor of the what really society needs, and it's easy to become a millionaire, right? But if you just want to be ordinary people like me, and then you go to work, and then you have to teach, and it's hard to become a top 1%, right? Only 1% of the What about the middle class? Middle class is kind of 100K to billion. It's a huge, right? It's a huge gap. Think about it, 100K to 100K to 900K. The life is totally different now, right? It's not a middle class, but it's a global world, and then like this, and then not that hypothetical, but it's not all can put together in the same category, right? If you make $100,000 and just compare with the $200,000, if you make $100,000, if you send your kids to private school in East Coast area and around here, and then they will get the financial need, right? Financial need, and then they got support. School provides some need. But if you make $200,000 and then there's no way, you have to pay all. Life is totally different. What about these poor people? It's about 100K to 100K. There's a big gaps between 100K, 10K to 100K, about 33% in the world, right? What about 55%? Just think about it. Who has, this is American standard, we think about in your country of living standard. I live in America and then just think about American living standard, right? In California, about if you make about $70,000 per year in household, that's median income. Actually, that's a percentage, but wealth share, just to think about around 46% have the just less than 0.5% that they are kind of poor and miserable, right? Just think about it. I don't know, standards of other countries are a little bit different, but just we can see that the glimpse of outline of how the wealth is distributed in each countries, right? You can see the other countries that, look at this. That is, what is this? Is a, just the Gini coefficient value here, and then what is the world-based, the Gini index and longer than the gaps in global income inequality. And Gini index is the measure of statistic dispersion intended to represent the income equality or wealth equality with the nation or any other group of people. Just what is the Gini index? Is mean that how is the country or society is unequal, right? Inequality like this, and then shows the distribution. So look at these countries, and that's the Gini index. Is the red one is it's really high. It's really inequality is really high. Look at the countries. That means that the rich is very rich, right? Some people have most, and few people have most what? The wealth. America and Argentina and South Africa and around here, and then around West Africa, and then there's a Middle East. Poor people are really poor. One of the India and certain of the countries in South Asia, and then look at the red countries. The wealth is not distributed very well, right? Inequality is really predominating. Look at this. That one is really dark one, is really horrible. So lighter color is okay, but look at this, and darker and darker and darker is more inequality in the country, right? So think about your country that you're from. Maybe this country is kind of it's okay, but compared with the European countries, not all the same. But this is usually Russia and America, and then more inequality than the West. This area was European countries, but it was Turkey and other countries, and then you can see. Right, it's different. Just a household incomes have recently growing following the great, just household incomes around the 70s, around $500, $50,000, and then around 1990. Around just 2000 is $70,000, and then whatever 2018, the median income is $75,000. That's why under $80,000 when your kids go to college in California, they can get grant from the government, state, right? If you make more than $80,000, you cannot get any grant from. So you have kind of a tuition rate, and then maybe you can get a little bit amount of the loan from your living. That's the if you don't have enough, and then a lot of subsidies for your kids, right? When you report income tax, and then they counted it. So around 2000, yeah, keep going up and down a little bit, but just think about it. And 2000, yeah, 10, there is a recession is there, and crime is happened, and then a lot of people lost the house, and then there's a horrible period, and then income is kind of down, family income is down, yeah. But this is it's not a miserable condition. This is average income, average household income, right? Maybe you don't live here, and then just think about nowadays people say that if you make the minimum pay job, if you have a minimum pay job, you cannot live in America anymore. You cannot pay up your apartment, you cannot pay for your apartment, you cannot, just think about it, how much you need. Minimum pay job is if you get the $15 per hour, and then calculate it in 80 hours and 160 hours per month. How much it's gonna be? Barely around $25,000 per month, right? Just think about it, and then if you're married, and then both of you guys have the minimum pay job, then barely make around 50 to 60K like this. And what about your apartment rent? What about your house payment? It's hard to buy a house, right? Nowadays, more than half of your income goes to your house payment, mortgage. That's why it's hard. I came to United States around 1996 and June. At that time, we rent an apartment. It's about $500. It's a one-bedroom apartment in La Mirada. But I have kids, and then we planned to move to two-bedroom apartment. So we moved to two-bedroom apartment. So $600. It's really cheap though, right? But nowadays the apartment is almost $2,000. One-bedroom apartment is $1,500 or $2,000. Depends on the area, right? That's why, it's really hard for the people who are really limited to assess, may produce their wealth, right? Even though they work hard, and then it's hard to make money enough for their living and for their children. That's a society. Bible said that there is always poverty there, right? That's why God told Israel people to take care of the people who are marginalized in society, like widows, and then foreigners, and fatherless, and poor people. There is a specific rules, right? When you're doing the harvest, and then when you grab the harvest the grain at the field, you drop something and don't pick it up. The people who need, and then go and pick up. When you harvest the fruit from the tree, and then you cannot reach, and then you just leave them alone, and someone who needs it, they can take it like that. That's a generosity rule. And realistic countries really build up the generosity, hospitality, right? Hospitality. and really they are generous and hospital and I don't know whether you guys been in a Muslim, one of the Muslim countries in South Central Asia and other countries, and they are really nice and generous and hospitable. They're willing to open their house and treat the guests, right? But our society, American society is a little bit different, right? So how do you understand the wealth, right? Some people could make accumulate a lot of wealth. Other people, they barely manage their life. One of the ways that I just think about, I already talked about the stock, right? If you have money and then money produces money. Money make more money, right? But just the people, ordinary people, like middle class or poor people, they barely manage their life, right? They work hard. Sometimes, that's why we can talk about later, and then still poverty is prevail in society. So how do we understand the wealth as a Christians? Wealth in the Bible, it is what? Wealth is God's. It belongs to God. It's not ours. It comes from God. And belongs to God, and so all wealth and can honor God, and it's a blessing from God. It's from God. It's not from us. I don't know, that's why nowadays it's kind of there was an economic system that we created, and then it's a little bit different understanding, right? Maybe you can have insight, you have read a lot, and you understand what's going on in the economy, but still, it's a little bit different. I know, but I heard that if you make money, from the stock, and then you have to pay more taxes. That's a little, it seems fair, but just think about the GameStops and AMCs, and nowadays people are waiting for a short squeeze, and then I don't know, right? But behind that one, how the societies, especially making money in that kind of way, is corrupted. That's one of the reasons is that people who have money getting what? More money and getting rich. But if you don't have money, barely make a living, and you cannot save any money, and then barely maintain your daily life, right? But remember that all wealth comes from God, right? Comes from God. We can talk about business, we can talk about work attitude, we can talk about the business attitude. Just think about the society is a little bit different from, it's way different from nowadays, right? There's agricultural society and nomadic society at that time, right? And they cannot do much. They work hard, right? So when we accept that wealth is God's, instead of ours, we are better equipped to manage it, right? It's not ours. We cannot take all wealth there to the grave when you die. Maybe we consider history channels, and when they died, and they precious material kind of buried with the people who are rich, right? So managing our wealth It's cause for wisdom. If you manage your wealth very well, then you are wise. And if you don't, and maybe with your wealth, and then we can honor God with all that we do, including the management of the wealth, and then so maybe we can give and we can use wisely, right? Not waste our wealth. Just think about it, how pathetic society is, and then people who have money and then they go to and spend one meal per meal is more than $1,000, but people who barely get a hamburger, like $6 and $7 a hamburgers for meal, Just remember that the basic principle is that whether you make a lot of money or not, your business is successful or not, the money is not yours. It's from God's. It's God's. We are the steward who manages what? Manages his wealth, right? What is the biblical wealth for? And the term biblical wealth is very loaded, and just think about those who have gained wealth have also gained the great responsibility to take care of the wealth. That's a Christian's attitude. Along with taking care of families, and along with your faith community, and the people have less. That's our responsibility. It's not just for ourselves, right? Just think about if you have to make $100,000, how can you use the money? And a lot of people use for themselves. I don't know how many people are kind of put aside for the your church community and put aside for the people, the money for the try to. It's not a lot, but share with others who are really in need. And a lot of people, I don't know, they don't take it. I know the Asian families is different from other Caucasian or other people, and we invest a lot of money on kids' education. But another ethnic groups, whatever they make, they enjoy with them, right? So another ethnic group is, I don't want to specify, that's my observation, and another ethnic group is that they use for themselves and accumulate for their future. They don't much invest their money for their own kids. So the wealth is intended to provide for people and support the missionary and feeding the hungry, and clothing the poor, educate the helpless, and protecting the innocent. Just think about it. The supporting ministries that that's a faithful faith community. But it's not easy though, right? Think about you make money not that much, and then, but even though you make money less, and then depends on your value, and then you think yourself as rich because everything comes from God, and God gives you best that you have. But you work hard, and then you try to be make a lot of money, but it doesn't go well, and then your life is different from others, right? But our society of the standard of society is that if you make a lot of money, you are successful, and regardless of what value they have or how they live with their wealth. If you drive a nice car, if you wear with brand names, and then they say, wow, right? That's your social status, economic, social status, and then that's what people are pursuing. That is nowadays, if you drive a Tesla and then, oh, he's pretty rich, like a kind of concept. But if you go to Nebraska, my daughter is there, and then it's hard to see the Tesla. It's not good for the area. It's a lot of rains, snows, right? Different. So this is a responsibility for the Christians who, if you have enough, more than you need, and then how can you manage this one, this wealth? If you don't make enough, but still a lot of people don't have enough, then yeah, they are the more poorer than you, right? Just think about it. So all wealth belongs to God, and we are called to take care of the wealth, whether we have a lot or not. There is related to Bible verses, and the biblical wealth and really just falls into one's lap. It not comes to you automatically though. Maybe you could have a lot of inheritance from your family, and then you keep managing your money in stock and invest other things, and then keep rolling and rolling and rolling, right? But I don't know, it doesn't matter how much you make, but if you, in one way, in legal, in moral way, and then you make a lot of money, and then what's your responsibility? And just think about what you do to make money. It's the right way that we expect others, we expect the systems. I know some people are still take advantage of the systems, and there is power to manipulate the systems, right? Like politicians. Seems like they work for the people, but not really though. Not everybody. They are really greed. They are hunger for power. They want to control people, and they want to accumulate their own wealth with their power. That's why dictators there depends on how much the degree of their greed. Still, America is really seems like a democratic society, but not really though. Always relate to your self-interested. If you just think about marijuana business, and then, so who has stocks? Who supports the agendas? You know, a lot of politicians approve that one, and they make a lot of money. The business, they was shareholder, stock shareholder, right? That's the society, kind of pathetic. But the God's blessing of wealth is usually obtained by great wisdom and maybe invest very well, and responsibility, and through this, discipline and hard working, saving, and seeking God's will, right? Just think about it, regardless of, regardless of how you get the wealth, and how can use your wealth with responsibility. Just think about people who had lottery winners, and then not the average people say they bankrupt at the end they bankrupt. Can you believe that? They got their millions dollars and 300 million, 200 millions, I don't know. I know a lot of charities are coming on and donations and kind of distribute to your brother and friends but yeah, I read one article and then she had pretty good money. She's a single mom and it's almost bankrupt. Almost bankrupt. Yeah, so just think about it and whether you get a big, great inheritance or not, and you had invested very well to produce a lot, yeah, a great deal amount of your wealth, and how can you use them? It's not from your hard working, just to use your kind of your insight or just given from your parent and by your parent, and then it is more chance to give you more damage than you work hard, and more chance to be failed to manage your money, wealth. So what is 2 Corinthians 9:6-8 is a basic principle of how you use your wealth and money. And now this is I say, who sows sparingly will also reap sparingly, and he who sows bountifully will also reap bountifully. Each one must just do as he has a purpose in his heart, not grudgingly or under compulsion. For God loves cheerful givers, right? Whatever you have, whatever your kind of heart for it, just do it. If you are stingy to give out, you're gonna harvest, get stingy, right? Just in the same way. But if you give generously, you're gonna get back generously from others and from something, someone. So God is able to make all grace abound to you, so that always having all sufficiency in everything, you may have an abundance for every good deed. So eventually, if you have a lot, why? God wants to use you to do good deeds through you, right? That's one of the reasons that God gives you a lot of wealth. So what does biblical wealth ultimately mean? What does it mean that wealth? When you decide to manage God's wealth for His glory instead of ours, and all financial decisions become a spiritual decision, right? Just think about it. How maybe if you need clothes, and you can go and buy, right? But if you decide to manage your wealth and for God's glory, means that use money, and through using money, and people kind of praise God and give honor God, and if you don't have a kind of a heart for that, and all financial decision become a spiritual decision. I know the trend of your style keep changing and changing, right? If you want to keep up to the trend, then you have to spend a lot of money. And if you want a nice car, and then every 5 years, American people, usually every 5 years they change a car, right? Depends on, I don't know. Sometimes we don't need expensive European cars. Instead of buying the expensive maintenance, if you buy the European cars, and a lot of money for the maintenance too, right? Just think about it. If you want to buy the European car, it gives you kind of your social status, and then people say, wow, you guys are driving, he's driving Mercedes, or she's driving Mercedes, and then like this. But nothing changes. You cannot change your heart, and you cannot change your appearance. Maybe you can decorate yourself with material things, but you cannot change, you cannot cover up what you have in your mind, and God knows your heart, and you cannot change your personality with them, right? So it's not always not think about your self-centered and self-worth, but to think about the others, right? And how to, what outcome I want to generate products for God's glory. So that's the kind of a basic attitude, right? Whereas your heart is there. If you want to use yourself, if you want to use the kingdom of God, or God's glory of God, and you gotta decide very well. I know the person. He was dentist in Korea, and then he always he told me that he provided was a third of his earning, and 1/3 out of third, and 1/3 goes to church, supporting church community, and then 1/3 kind of people who missionaries and pastors, and struggle with living in their ministry, they support them. And 1/3 is for the really poor people, donate to others like this. And then everybody cannot do that, but depends on how you set your goal of life, and how you set your value of life, right? That's why all financial decision becomes spiritual decision. I know we need new clothes. We need a new car, so we can buy. I don't mean that you need to wear worn-out clothes. I don't mean that, right? You can wear it, but how you spend your wealth, right? For me, and then long time ago, it was like 10 years ago, when I buy the cars, and it was less than $30,000. I'm driving the Honda Pilot, and then it was less than $30,000. But nowadays, and then so I decided I'm not gonna buy. How many years? I bought in 2009, 2009 or 7, around there. And I'm not gonna buy more than $30,000 car. But nowadays almost 15 years, and then isn't, do you know what's a basic car value is? If you buy, usually I buy the Japanese car because I want to drive long and maintenance well, and then I can save money. So usually when I buy a car, I usually use the 10 years, 5 years for after 5 years for payment after payment, and then I use another 5 years. But nowadays my older car is like 20, almost 20 years, and I give out to someone who really need a car. It was still decent condition, and then pretty good. She can drive 2-3 years ago, while she was in college, and then after that, and if she can support herself, then she can buy a new car. And then that's my standard. But nowadays I try to buy the car, and then 3 years ago I bought a car for my wife. So RAV4. It's really basic. It was the cheapest place I found, and there's $26,000. It means that nowadays, I don't put any option on that, and then it's really nothing. So, and my wife cannot use the GPS with her car because there is no function there. Nowadays, it's kind of you can, even though there is no GPS and you can connect to your phone, there's app is installed, right? That was optional, so I didn't buy it, and then kind of regret now. And and think about it. How can you use every decision, and you have to make, and then I use the money for myself too, right? I don't say that I use the money everything to God. No, I use for myself. I use for my children. Sometimes I take them to nice restaurant, right? It's not often though, because it's not worthy. Once in a while it's okay. We have a really big occasion, like my birthday, and then my daughters, and then out of state, and they have a vacation and stop by my house to celebrate my birthday, and I'm willing to pay for. I went to Brazilian barbecue place, right? That's I don't mean that, okay, don't use the money like that. No, I don't use that. You can celebrate, with your family, but not every day, not every occasion. Just depends on how you think about the money, depends on what value you have in your heart, what standard of living you have in your heart, right? Depends on that, and you can use the money differently. But basically, our big orientation is what we should be a spiritual, right? Here is the story that in the Bible I wanna share this one. Look at this, Matthew, not Matthew. The Matthew 24:40-30. Basically, this story is that a master, he is going to travel to overseas countries, and he called what? He called his servant, and then depends on their ability, and the master gives him, one is a 4 talent, and so one is a 2 talent, and another, the last servant 1 talent, and then he left for travel, and he came back, and then asked his servant, how you guys manage money, and then the servant who got the 4 talents, and then he said, "Oh, I work hard and then do something, and I left the 4 talents." And the master really give them praise like this, and you are a good servant. Well, you did a good job like this. Well done, right? And he asked the 2 talented servant, "How did you do?" And then he said, "Yeah, I worked, managed very well. I worked hard, and I left the 2 talents more." And then same thing, you did a good job. But lastly, the servant then asked him, "How'd you do that?" And he said, and the Portuguese is different. He said, "Oh, I had 1 talent from you, and then you are the now righteous person because you don't work hard, but you wanna get and just and he said, and he didn't use the money, and then he kind of dig down to the ground and kind of put in the ground, and then when his master came back, and then he take out, "Here is your money." Look at this. Then the last man who received the 1 talent, here is a bag and gold here, 1 bag of gold here. So I said 1 talent. Okay, that's at that time the unit of the money. And then master said, "I knew that you are the hard man, harvesting you where you have not sown, and gathering where you have not scattered seed." And then kind of the servant have misunderstood his servant, his master, right? "I knew that you are hard man, harvesting where you have not sown, and gathering whether you have not scattered seed," right? You are the unrighteous master. So I was afraid and went out and hid your talent in the ground, and see, here is what belongs to you. His master replied, "You wicked, lazy servant. You knew that I harvest where I have not sown, and gather where I have not scattered seed. Well, then you should have put my money on deposit with the bankers, and so that I can return it. When I return it, I would have received it back with interest." Right? That's true. That is a kind of parable. That is a parable, and that is that shows how we take care of the wealth. Everybody has different abilities, right? Some of them can make more, accumulate more wealth, others less. It's not a comparison, right? But we are always comparative, and we are not comparing with others. And compare, and then they have more, and wow, and they are rich, and I have less. No self-esteem for what they have done, right? That's a big problem, though. So regardless of accumulation of your wealth, and then how can be a faithful servant, steward for the kingdom of God, or your master God, right? Whether some of you guys have like a 4 talent, 4 bag of gold, and some other 2 received 2 bag of gold, and two talents, and some of them is one talent, but don't compare with what you have. Your ability is different, right? So, what is it? What is it? Wealth creating and wealth production is a different way that we can think about later, but still, yeah, everybody, remember that everybody has different ability and given by God, and then you can use your ability to accumulate your wealth, and then, but use your wealth wisely with the spiritual decision, right? Yeah, David Carter said that he tried to kind of he tried to understand and define the wealth and riches, and even though the word used interchangeably, but still the word is a little bit different. But riches is correspond with the self-indulgent heart, right? Rich means his riches, and then he tried to define their way, and then the wealthy see themselves steward of God's gift and manage their possession in ways that honor God. Yeah, the wealthy, the riches, maybe you don't have to define, but he defined a different way and tried to distinguish who is a self-centered, self-indulgent heart, and then who is really store the heart to serve God and serve others, right? So, there is an example. Is the riches of a young man ruler came to Jesus Christ, and then how can I go to heaven? He asked like this, and then he said. Jesus Christ said, you gotta keep the commandment. He said, I already did. I have done all the time. And then Jesus said that, and okay, he was a rich young man, and then sell your own possessions and property, and then follow me. And then he really struggled with the Jesus Christ saying, and then he went back. That is one example. And the other example is the Lydia. She's a dealer of expensive purple clothes, and then she was doing business very well at the time, and then she tried to serve their people, right? She's well known at the time. That's a different, people out there. So even though whether you have a lot or not, and then different. What about the instruction for the wealthy? Based on the Timothy 6, 17 and 18. Here is that one. And then command those who are rich in this present world not to feel arrogant nor put their hope in wealth, which is so uncertain. Your wealth is very uncertain, right? Sometimes maybe you are really rich and whatever you can do, sometimes when you bankrupt and you lost everything. Put your hope in God, who richly provide us with everything for our enjoyment. My son, God is rich. And command them to do good, to be rich in good deeds, and to be generous and willing to share. That's one of the examples. Even though, just think about 3 servants, who had four talent, who received four talent, ability have use manage four talent, right? Who received more because he has ability to manage very well, right? Like four talent. But don't look down on the who received two talent. Don't be arrogant, right? Don't look down on the who has one talent. That's what I'm saying. Don't be arrogant. God's gonna ask more responsibility for what you have done, right? Instead of putting your hope on your wealth, putting your hope in God, right? Because God provide us with what? Everything for our enjoyment. That's self-content is there. And then even though you make $50,000 per year, even though you make $200,000, maybe living standard may be different, right? You have really who make $50,000 per year and then manage their life thriftily, right? But if you could make $200,000 per year and then more rooms to use your money, that's why a lot of people live a life luxuriously, right? But don't be arrogant. Don't look down on people who have less, even though they have worked hard. They receive the less from God. It's a different story. Who doesn't work hard, right? And then that one is the next week topic. And put your hope in God and what? Command them to do good. What is the good? What is the goodness that you can do? And then to be rich in good deeds and what? To be generous and willing to share. Right? That's the basic attitude if you are Christian. Right? But not every Christian does like that. Some Christians are more greedy, greedier than other non-Christians. But think about if you wanna live a faithful Christian and really love God and really think about the glory of God and better take it away, right? So we are just the steward to manage what we have, right? Just think about, I'm gonna give you one of the stories, in the Bible. I don't know whether you guys have heard of it, but this is really helped us to keep in mind who we are and what is next. And someone in the crowd said to him, "Teacher, Jesus, tell my brother to divide the inheritance with me." Jesus replied, "Man, you who appoint me a judge or an arbiter between you?" Then Jesus said to them, "Watch out, be on your guard against all kind of greed. Life does not consist in abundance of possession." Right? Remember that. And he told them this parable. A ground of uncertain rich man yielded an abundant harvest. He thought to himself, "What shall I do? and I have no place to store my crops. And then he said, this is what I will do. I will tear down my barns and build bigger ones, and there I will store my surplus grains. And I will say to myself, you have a plan of grain laid up for many years. Take life easy. Eat, drink, and be merry. But God said to him, you fool, this very night your life will be demanded from you. Then you will get what you have prepared for yourself. This is what I will be with whoever stores up things for yourselves, but not reach toward God. Right? You're not sure. Our life is not certain. So maybe you are 20 years old, 50 years old, or whatever, and then we don't know what happened in our life. Right? When you die, when are you gonna die? We don't know. That's why the parable said it. And that parable said a story. He said, and just store up your wealth in heaven. It means store means that use the money wisely for the kingdom of God, for the glory of God, for others, for your faith community, and for your families, and right. Use them wisely. That's a direction that we need. Now just think about poverty. What is poverty? It's the opposite word of the wealth. Kind of a rich, right? I define the wealth is not the poverty that you can convert from any economic things, right? And for poverty is the state of the one who lacks or uses socially acceptable amount of money or material possession. There is a living standard in American single household, minimum $30,000 per month. If you don't have less, that's poverty, right? There's a poverty level is less than $30,000 poverty, and then what if when $15,000 under $15, that's miserable in American society. That's why government subsidizes the family who doesn't have enough. So that one is a little bit more, another aspect of the definition is that poverty is a state or condition in which a person or community lacks in financial resources and essential for a minimum standard of living. So poverty means that the income levels from employment is so low that basic human needs can meet. Right? That is a poverty level. Can you see that how many people go hungry at night in America? It's a long time ago when I was in college here around 2000, early 2000, and then one of the books said that more than 2 million kids are going hungry at night. So we help a lot of people in overseas countries, right? We fight for poverty, hunger. What's there? What about the inside, the state? country. Just think about as we are January 2020, and the the U.S. poverty income threshold for families of family of 4, 26,200 per year. That's poverty. It's less than $30,000 and around $26,000, and then they are really in poverty level. Just think about the people's lifestyle. If you're really poor, and if you go to inner city, and then you can see the people really live in poverty. There is I told another class, and then there's a food desert. There is no right. Do you know if you go to desert, and then it's hard to see the vegetation, right? In city there is no fresh vegetable store. Mean that they cannot cook fresh one, right? They cannot buy fresh fruit, and they cannot buy any fresh vegetable. The cities stay exist in America. Just think about Asia 2015, and estimated 736 million people lived in extreme poverty in the World Bank defined as surviving on less than $1.90 per day. If they have $2, it's okay, right? But they don't have $2 per day. So 2015 is 736 million. Of the total, roughly half lived in just 5 countries: India, Nigeria, and Democratic Republic of Congo, Ethiopia, and Bangladesh. Is that one of the poorest countries? More than half, roughly half of people live in the countries. I told you, and if you work in Mexico, in Tijuana, and just a regular labor, you don't have any specialized skills, and then they make $13 per day, not per hour. That the living standard is totally different from here, right? And when you live in Tijuana and then see that the people, it's really in poor conditions. And they just America is a poor condition is $260 per month, and just what about Mexico? $13, $15 per day. So how much are you gonna make? I know that the guy who graduated from college and then he became a lawyer. It's a little bit different from here, but he make $1,000 per month when he start to work. But still, compared with the regular workers, it's about 4,000. It's a double or triple, right? It's different, What is the cause of the poverty? Also, there is a lot of causes and limited resources, and sometimes corruption in a lot of countries are struggling. People are struggling in a lot of countries, and the lack of education and literacy, and the job is skilled is really limited. And so last night I read an article about the widow who recently lost her husband in India because of the coronavirus, and then she has 2 kids, and her husband worked for the family, and then also she cannot read, she doesn't have any skills. And certainly she cannot do anything. Wow. Even though you barely make when her husband leaves, and then there was no problem for living, but nowadays and it's in big trouble, right? And sometimes the weak institutions like a government, they cannot control the society properly, and means that a lot of other organizations take advantage of the others, but they don't execute the law right, and all kind of that's a real corruption. What about the population explosion? And not every year, all the time, but just think about how they calculated what is poverty, and then what is national gross what is the national gross national product, and then if you have more people in the country, the GNP level is kind of low and getting poor, right? But if you go to poor country, even though they are poor, even though they live in the poor countries, so think about wealthy people. They send kids to the prestigious college in America. You know how much they have to spend? I know it's nothing for them, but still it's a lot. And they don't have enough resources because of the colonial past, and then a lot of the countries exploit their resources, and then they cannot develop their own things. And what about the natural disasters? Some because of some geographic reason, and then keep typhoons and hurricanes and hitting the region, but they cannot leave the city, and they have to live and always struggle with their life, right? There is many because of the social system, and because of the corruptions, and because of the lack of education and literacy, that can raise their ability for the work skills, and a lot of different reasons. That's why always poor people is out there. What do you think about the homeless? How do you think? Maybe that's next next time. Just think about, and there is theories is here, and then 3 theories is the political theories, and structural theories, and behavioral theory. What they said in political theories, and how much can the government moderate behavior poverty link? That one is government doesn't control, and then that's why. And what about the structural theory, and how much are the behavior beyond the individual control, right? Like BLM, Black Lives Matter is like this one. right? And critical theories like this one, they find with the structure. What about the political and structural theories and related, and how much can government moderate the demographic and labor market change? It's hard to point to one thing. So just think about three political theories and structural theories and behavioral theories, and always mixed together, right? But mainly their approach is, their understanding analysis is different. Maybe they wait on certain part, right? More political part, politics. Maybe they wait on the structures and they wait on the behavior. Yeah, that one is a little bit different that, and just think about it. It shows that getting discrepancies growing and growing. Just think, 70s, and then what is the people who has upper classes, and then in America is around $126,000, but nowadays it's doubled, right? 276,000. But think about the median versus the middle class is 70s at around $580,000, $58,000, but nowadays $87,000 for median and middle class. What about the poor class and lower class is about 2,000? It's not that much difference. But think about how upper class is growing and growing, because of the society, right? And nowadays, a lot of different businesses out there, a lot of jobs out there that people use. There was no in the 70s and 2000s. Just think about middle income is coming, low level, low income is almost steady, not that much change, a little bit, but middle income is getting down and down, and upper income is getting more and more, right? Higher and higher. That's the trend, and eventually, that's what happened in this society. There is kind of this is an immigrant society, and then there is discrepancy among the race and ages. And just think about who other people, poor, right? And just think of, and who other, and if you are not ready for retirement, and then elderly people are really poor, right? Just look at this. And white non-Hispanic is 0.7. It's underrepresented poverty. While the black is 1.8, which is highest. Hispanic is 1.5, and then Asian is they work hard, and then it's a little bit different. Age is different, and under 18, just think about the difference in race, and what about 18 to 64? When we see these pictures, and who are the poor ethnic groups, race group, right? There's a disparity in ethnic group, right? And look at this. A little bit clear, and always they are most affluent white people, and then other Asian people, and they always struggle in life as black people. There's a gender differences here. Can you compare with the Asian man and woman? It's a man is higher, and then what about the white man and woman? Man is higher, right? Weekly earnings. What about man and person poverty level? Women is African Americans, women are more in poverty, in Hispanic and Asian and white too. Which really it means that our society really may dominate the society, oriented society, right? My wife said my wife is pharmacist, and then one example is prostate cancer. So for men, and then they research a lot, and now it's a kind of cure, and then medicine is really advanced. But the breast cancer treatment and research is that each just doing not like advanced for the prostate cancer. There's a difference, right? Gender difference. How can you understand the poverty as a Christian? Just the hospitality and generosity in Near Eastern cultures. The biblical culture is fall on the Near East culture. God always considered the poor people, right? And always in taking care of the poor people and to these people, and then even when they bring the tithe for the and people of God, and they can support the poor people too. They can eat with the poor people, and God commanded to take care of the poor people. So not just to leave them alone and try to live together. What degree we can do? Just think about we paying the taxes in government to the government. Some of them is for the social security for our future, for about 10% of your incomes, and usually 30%. Depends on your family members, but usually 30 to 40%. And if you make a lot in 50% of taxes, and then government use them, use our tax money for subsidize for the poor people, right? But that is one of the ways that we can do, but that is evident to everybody. But as a Christian, how can we take care of the people who are struggling in life to meet their living? I don't know how many people you guys involved in your church ministry. Think about how much your church is try to take care for the people who are struggling in life. Our church is assigned some of we opened one of account, and then people donate the money, and we keep it, and then if people really need, and we give them from the money. But it's not from our budget. Based on the people who gives, and then we take the money and then just redistribute. Someone has a heart for the people who are struggling in life, and then they give, and then we set aside, and then redistribute to people who really need. But I don't, just think about how many percent of your church finance to, yeah, goes to the people who are struggling in life. Yeah, God's command, yeah, God commanded us to take care of the poor, right? What about the blessing for the people who serve the poor, right? That is basically our basic attitude, though. Don't look down because they are poor and don't ignore them. Don't underestimate their abilities. I know some of them work hard, we gotta respect them, but some of them don't work hard. Like they addict kind of drugs and they don't responsible for their family, they don't responsible for, yeah. So a lot of people choose one of a, yeah, as one of a lifestyle. But still government support for them, support them. I don't know whether it's right, it's biblical. Maybe we can talk about next week, but still, yeah. So the Bible said that we need to live together. Even though you have a little one, I'm more, but still we need to live together, right? That's the way that we can redistribute our wealth to the people who are struggling in life, in our faith community, or go beyond your faith community. So I'm kind of organizing I created a nonprofit organization, and what I'm doing is that they can be a leader in the countries, but they don't have enough money for education, right? That's why who have a heart for that one, to support the kids, and then we have a selective process, and then we have to get a pledge from the parent and student. Oh, I have a heart, I want to study up to this level and college and level, and then we're going to support them through the process, and then they can kind of overcome the literacy, and then they can equip with the skills, and they can equip with the ability to lead the people, to serve their community for glory of God. That's why I'm doing one of my ministry. And so a lot of different ways that you can share your wealth, whether you have enough or not. If you have a lot more, and then you can share more. If you have less, and you can share little. Your heart is matter. Our heart is matter, right? Yeah, always, there is disparity and inequalities out there. But sometimes that's one of the topics that we're gonna go, and then just giving is not enough to solve the problem, right? That's why BLM and critical theory try to overcome the structural evil system that can make produce inequality, right? Politics. There is a politics. There is systems, peoples, behavior, all tangled together. But how can we solve the problem? Yeah. Maybe we can talk about later more, and then basically today we understand about what is the wealth, and what is the basic understanding of wealth as a Christian? What is the basic attitude about wealth? Right? We are the steward to manage, handle the wealth that entrusted by God, right? And what about the poverty? How can we deal with poverty as a Christian? So I don't know. Maybe you can just donate some and share something. Maybe it's not enough. We cannot solve the problem of the poverty, but still, way that we can live together. Maybe if you are maybe your children become a really righteous and faithful politician, and maybe they can construct the society in a little different way to be fair and to be just, but I don't know. It's impossible after the fall. All the time, this is an issue after the fall. Before the fall, we have a lot. There is no scarcity. But after the fall, that's your life. Okay, you guys, and I hope that you understand the basic attitude about wealth, and then how deal with the poverty as a Christian. And maybe we can, next week we can think about work and how can we generate the wealth and through your labor or through others' labor. That was a business, and then we can talk about another things later. And we can your part, and then what is the attitude for work attitude for Christians, and then basically just think about, especially in what is the glory of God in economic activities. Whether you have a lot, whether you have less, more or less, it doesn't matter. How shall we live for the glory of God? Right? Through your activity, economic activity, how people acknowledge that God in your heart, and how people praise God through you. That's a glorifying God. All right, and just I hope that a little bit different perspective if you are not Christian, and maybe foolish way, stupid way, but we are Christian, try to live in the way, right? So I hope we help you understand the Christian, and I hope you are, if you are Christian, I hope you reorganize your thought again. Okay. You guys, anyway, and a lot of people getting more and more and positive and coronavirus, and I hope you guys take it very well and be wise in taking care of your health. Okay, have a great week, and see you next week. Bye.